2016, the 25th year of Armenia's independence, did not bring much reassurance that Armenia's democratization process is on the right tracks. The next parliamentary elections are slated for April of this year, and civil society is taking action. Transparency International Armenia, European Law Association, RepatArmenia, and Impact Hub Yerevan hosted a discussion on becoming an election observer, how and why, bearing in mind that monitoring elections is a way of supporting democracy.
Elections in Armenia are usually, for many years, accompanied by gross violations, ranging from vote buying, ballot stuffing, multiple voting, carousel voting, falsification of the results. So we have a whole spectrum of violations. And in order to prevent some of these violations, we need to monitor the elections. We need to oversee the processes. And it's not only relating to the day of the elections, but also the pre-election period, post-election period. Because of these violations, we do not have legitimate elections every time. Basically, after the elections, because of these violations, the results of the elections are being challenged. And we do not believe that the elections were free and fair. We do not trust in our government. And eventually, we have a government which doesn't really behave in order to be trusted because it hasn't been elected, in fact. This is why we think that it's important to monitor, and our practice, our experience has showed that the observers in the precincts, they really make a difference.
The Citizen Observer Drive started in Armenia during the 2013 presidential elections with only 240 observers. There were as many as 1,000 observers during the 2015 referendum. This time around, and ideally 4,000 citizen observers could cover about 2,000 precincts. And as Irina Raplanian explains, it would provide for an incredible opportunity to compare the official numbers with the independent numbers that the observers would obtain. So there can be an actual foundation to contest the results if need be. And though there are currently only 1,900 registered observers, the drive continues and extends beyond Armenia.
This is really the first time where the diaspora is being asked to be contributing beyond the traditional ways that we have been contributing. What we're talking about is about creating a communal sense of participation, that we can all in our own way be part of the development of the two civil societies that we have the benefit, the privilege, and the luck to have as a nation. We have a homeland with its own civil society, and we have a diaspora that has its own civil society.
This is an invitation coming from a legitimate place, that is the homeland, says Khanjan, who has been spearheading the Justice Within Armenia initiative, another call for safeguarding egalitarianism in Armenia through election observation, put out by heavyweight Armenian celebrities.
We think that the potential that diaspora has, the intellectual, the civic potential, should be better used for the development of the democracy of our country. And for many years, unfortunately, diaspora has been used, sometimes abused. The resource of the diaspora was sometimes also abused just for, providing humanitarian assistance, doing some economic projects, making investments for economic projects. And diasporans have been also victims of the corruption in the country. They also have been victims of different civic rights violations of the country, but we never gave a floor for them to participate in the political life of the country. And we think that it's very important that diaspora participates and takes the responsibility for this country, for the democracy of this country.
This is a very legitimate form of involvement, a basic human right to support free and fair elections anywhere, and for an Armenian, especially in Armenia.
But when we're talking also about elections at this point, we should also remind that there is another way of participating to the elections. And it's not necessarily about coming as observers, although that is the general possibility for everyone, but there are all the diasporans who have dual citizenship, and they can actually come to Armenia and vote.
As people come to Armenia on April 24th, they come on May 28th and September 21st, they also can come for different elections and not necessarily just for this election, because they should become a part of our culture.
The Citizen Observer Drive not only challenges the way elections are held in Armenia and empowers the individual to act in support of democracy, it also calls for a consolidated effort for nation building.
Unfortunately, our political leadership over the past now 3 decades has failed largely in articulating the right vision of nation building, because there has always been this discourse of us and them, diaspora and the state. There's very little narrative on nation building.
As for the technicalities on how to become an observer and to learn more on the support observers receive and the training needed to become one, the webpage citizenobserver.am provides all the information.